All right. Thank you, Ken. Good morning. It is 10 a.m. Wednesday, August 5th. Welcome to the regular scheduled Lincoln County Board of Commissioners meeting. We'll first start with calling the meeting to order and then establishing a quorum. Commissioner Miller?
I am present.
Okay. Commissioner Walter-Chuck present. We do have a quorum. We have no recognitions or proclamations. We have the consent calendar. Anything on the consent calendar you wish to discuss, Commissioner Miller?
I am satisfied with the consent calendar as presented. Commissioner Chuck?
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would move we adopt the consent calendar.
Okay, I will second that motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. All right. We have first decision action item. We have North Lincoln Sanitary Service rate and review. Lexi and Tina did a great presentation at our last meeting. Council Yule, is there anything else that we need to discuss on this matter?
Good morning, commissioners. No, I believe everything that's in the packet has still remained consistent.
Okay. Commissioner Miller, are there any questions regarding North Lincoln Sanitary Services rate review that you'd like to bring up?
Commissioner Chuck, nothing for me, and I would propose a motion that we approve North Lincoln Sanitary Service Rate Review of 2.74%.
Okay, thank you. I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you for that. Next, we have the Chamber and Museum TRT agreements. These were brought forward. They were taken off the consent calendar at the last meeting, Commissioner Miller. You had some questions and you need to review these. Did you follow up with Council Yule and
I did not follow
answer?
up with Council Yule, but I did take a look at them. I spoke with uh, Toledo. I spoke with the History Center, and I am satisfied with these agreements. So thanks for providing me the time. Kind of is fitting into a bigger framework for me in terms of the Economic Development Fund, but that's something that I will be discussing in the future. So, yeah, I would say let's get the ball rolling and approve all four of those contracts. And I've got some language here, if that would be helpful, Commissioner Chuck, to make that motion.
Okay, I just want to add a few things that I also reached out to Amber at the Chamber and let her know where I stood on these things. And I did talk with Dean Fleck, who is also on the board for the Historical Society. They were a little concerned about why they were taken off, and I'm glad that she followed up with them. I also saw that the agreements had not changed since last year. I talked with Council Yule, and they had not changed for more years after prior to that. Um, I reached out to some other counties, what they do with their TRT money, and some of them, do not put any towards or very little towards economic development, and they do their general fund. And so it was really interesting to see how other counties use that money. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
good. Good.
yeah, and I talked with our tax collector, Jane Welch, and as far as the new percentages, 50-50 now instead of 70-30. Um, they're probably going to wait until January so they have a full
Mhm.
intake of it till they look at any further increases. So I think if increases were going to be done, they should wait until after we've gotten a full reporting for them. And just I'd also like to say that some of those funds have also been dedicated to paying off the loan for the county commons, and so we will have to see what the actual money left over for any increases or changes to the amounts. Um,
Yeah, and Commissioner Chuck, I appreciate that you did that. That you're kind of pulling some threads of some things that I want to dive into at some point. And I think what I'll do is put together like a just a memo. I'll share it with you and Council Yule, so you can kind of just see what I'm thinking, and maybe where we can look at going in the future to kind of
Yeah.
kind of untangle all those issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the concerns would be just maintaining things status quo until we see what those actual amounts
Agreed.
are. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what is going to be dedicated towards the county commons. Um, please proceed with your motion.
Okay. Let me find it. I think I've.
And commissioners, there's a total of 7 agreements that are listed in the documents.
Oh, 7. I mean, I only have a motion for 4, Council. Uh, did I? I don't think I pulled more than 4, did I?
So there's 7 that is listed in the documents. North Lincoln County Historical Society,
Yeah.
Lincoln County Historical Society, Toledo Chamber, Yachats Chamber, Lincoln Waldport Chamber, Toledo History Center, and the Quina Pacific Railroad. So that's 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's. Huh. I guess I didn't review any everything.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I know we've done this before, so all right.
518 it was 518 pages this week too.
Yeah, it was a biggie. A lot of work going on there. Well, I would make a motion that we approve. I'm not going to be able to rattle that back off, so let me try this again. I make a motion that we approve the previous uh, TRT contracts as they were presented on uh, the last commissioners meeting agenda. Will that get us through?
Uh,
I
I,
can be
I think you
specific.
could just say that you approve the tourism agreements for the chambers and historical societies that are listed in the packet.
Okay. I move that we approve the chambers and historical society agreements that are presented in the packet. Thank you.
Thank you. I will second that motion. Is there any further discussion? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for that. The motion, Commissioner Miller. Next, we have a discussion information. Um, we have Lieutenant Josh McDowell and Brian Gardner. Are they going to be presenting today?
I have got Lieutenant McDowell in the panelists. Oh, Brian is in there now.
Yeah, and just trying to see if I can get on. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can, Brian. Lieutenant McDowell?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There
Good
you go.
morning. Good morning.
All
How are
right.
you doing?
Okay, if
Good
I could
morning.
just I'll just kind of let you guys know what this is, and then have Lieutenant McDowell add in or answer your questions regarding the specifics. But you don't have any documents for this because what we're doing here today is Lieutenant McDowell approached the legal team earlier in the late spring, wanting to put forward a request for proposals um, regarding upgrading or modernizing the security technology services at the Lincoln County Jail. They have an integrated electronic and control systems between like the elevators, the doors, the cameras, all that, and they're all kind of hodgepodge right now, different levels of sophistication and different years of when they were put in. So it requires quite a bit to have the systems smoothly operate together. It requires a specific person to help code that to make them talk to each other correctly. And so we put out a request for proposals on May 17th. And that went through the regular RFP process with site visits and protest periods to the RFP. And Lieutenant McDowell and put together an evaluation team for the responses to the RFPs. And there were 3 proposals that were considered by the evaluation team. one from Justice Systems by Long, one by Brightside Security and Fire and Alarm Systems, and one from Accurate Electronic Unlimited. And after the evaluation team went through that, they they did their score sheets, and they came to the conclusion that they were going to be recommending to the Board of Commissioners or to request from the Board of Commissioners authorization to issue a notice of intent to award to the Accurate Electrical Unlimited proposal, the company that did that proposal. So just to let you know, if you authorize that notice of intent to award to be issued, the other legal parts of it is that would start from the day we get that delivered to them, which if you agree with the recommendations from Lieutenant McDowell and his evaluation team, I will get that notice of intent out today. That would start a 7-day protest period. I send that to each of the proposers, each of the companies. And so then the timeline is depending on whether or not there's a protest or not, and whether or not, and then the resolution if there is a protest. But basically what would happen is after the 7 days, if there's not, or whenever any protest is resolved, at that time, well, in the meantime, I would be working on a draft of a contract and with the terms of from their proposal, and working with Lieutenant McDowell for a contract regarding those services. So the notice of intent does not obligate the county to anything at this time. Any subsequent contract would come back through the Board of Commissioners for your review at a later date, whenever that was available. But I know from talking to Lieutenant McDowell, there is a sense of urgency to get this going. So I would be trying to get that contract back on the agenda as soon as possible. But if you have questions for Lieutenant McDowell with regards to what exactly we're doing or anything like that, he's a lot more able to answer those questions than I am.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Commissioner Miller, do you have any questions for Lieutenant McDowell?
Yes, Lieutenant McDowell, any thoughts on, Gardner said it was a hodgepodge. Could you talk to us a little bit about how you've been struggling and what is going to be refined when this finally gets done?
Yeah, so you have a lot of different pieces of technology that are having to work and kind of collaborate with each other, and sometimes it doesn't go too smooth. So, for example, we have a company contract with a company called Vicon to provide the video services. So we have a program that runs the videos. Well, that has to communicate with another set of equipment that runs our door controls. So we remote actuate our door controls. So the central control has to turn an electronic computer signal into something that triggers a pneumatic airlock so it can actually open the door up itself. Then on top of that, we have these buttons, these emergency call buttons, and these simplex call boxes that allow the AICs, the adults in custody, to communicate with staff. And so all these things have to communicate with each other. And they had to get, over the years, I mean, the heart of this system is over 20 years old. They had to get creative in trying to get these different pieces of technology to communicate, to pair with each other to accomplish what we needed to do. And just over the years, we've had to replace these things, and they're just not communicating well. It's essentially a Band-Aid. And then recently we had an elevator modernization project completed at the jail because we were having failing elevators. And once the new elevators came in, they just really weren't compatible with this new system. And we're still dealing with some of the fallout from that. And then we also have to comply with CJIS, which is, the Criminal Justice Information System, so security. And that requires us to move to Windows. I believe it's Windows 11 or 10. I don't remember. I'm not exactly my strong suit here, but well, when we reached out, our current system, the operating system that runs all of our doors, isn't compatible with that. So that program would have to be rebuilt, and that's another, I think it was upwards of 50 or $60,000 just for that. And then the biggest issue I think that we've encountered is when the system fails, and it actually fails far more frequently than it should. The only person that can work on it is out of Spokane. And so it's just been really, really challenging. So with this new system, we have remote access to remote service. If something goes down, we have less than 24-hour response time if somebody needs to be on site. And we're looking at getting all new computers that are designed to work with each other and an integrator that really understands the system. And so a lot of really positive things. The operating system that we're switching to is far more robust, and it allows us to scale and add new services inside the jail, which could potentially allow us to control additional things like light switches and stuff remotely from the control system. So not only are we repairing something that's failing, but we're actually getting more services and a better reliable product.
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant McDowell and Commissioner Chuck. I guess just kind of one more question at the moment. Josh, you have pretty high confidence it's what you want because it's so critical and you feel good about it, huh?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Because I know having people come in and having this stuff fail, I imagine you've been tolerating it for a while. So thanks for hanging in.
It's the team. It's stressful on the team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Nothing else for me at the moment, Commissioner Chuck.
All right. I'm sorry about that. So, Lieutenant McDowell, I think we talked about this last year when I did my jail tour, and you said this would be coming before us. I just did have a couple questions. So, Accurate, would they be servicing? Would they be the only people servicing the equipment, or would our own IT department be part of that servicing agreement?
Good question. So it's kind of depends on what the needs of the service are. Now, the great part is these integrators have the ability to work on just about any aspect of the system itself. And so we have them as kind of a fallback. But the nice thing about it is when we're operating more modern equipment, it's going to allow our IT department to service the majority of it. And the new company that we're on, I guess you would say the operating system that we would be switching to. It's called IP Fusion. They actually will teach. They have a higher level of I guess how do I say this? Like administration that they can delegate and train off to people. So they'll teach our IT department how to administer the program to a higher level than somebody like myself or a regular end user would have. So there's kind of layers of response. So it's really going to open up a lot and allow our IT department to be more engaged with our system here, whereas before they really couldn't. But also we have access to this integrator with a 24-hour response time in the event that our IT department can't fix or resolve the issues.
Okay. Just one more follow up on that too. And you did say that some of the equipment's, well over 10 years old. Do you have an idea of what the life expectancy is on this equipment and how much the integration is going to give to those older units?
Are you talking about like how can we forecast how long it's going to last?
Yeah, I know we had talked about when like I said on the tour about maybe need to replace some of these things, and I'm just wondering what the expected life is on some of these pieces of equipment, and is this going to breathe more life into them, let us get more use out of them?
Yeah, so I actually spoke with IT Director Todd Richmond about this not too long ago as he was bringing up that our current computer or our current door controller servers and our current video servers are all out of their end of life. We talked about that, and what he told me was these individual I call them computers, but they're servers. They do the life expecting on those are about 5 years. And so realistically, once this program gets up and running, we really do need to look at getting on a way where we can create a replacement system and offset some of these costs down the road so that we're not getting a 200,000 or an $80,000 bill every 5 years, that we're on a maintenance program that would allow us to, get on a schedule to replace some of these equipment. But we can expect certain things like the servers themselves, like the primary computers that operate the door controllers or the cameras, to last about 5 years. The rest of it, like cameras and whatnot, cameras are a little, um, they usually last about 10 years or so. Um, but really at the end of the day, the heart of this program are the servers that run the door controls and the cameras. Like those are the things that have to be maintained and replaced on a schedule, or we're going to get back into the same system.
All right. Thank you for that explanation. I appreciate that. And, it looks like that's the proper way to go, so we can get you up and running, because we want to make sure that everything functions well there, and your staff is safe, and we make sure that we have operational equipment. So that's it for me. Commissioner Miller, do you have anything further to add?
No, great questions. And yeah, I think we should get this in motion for them.
Okay.
So it sounds like there's consensus, but I just want to confirm that I'm authorized to issue the notice of intent to award on this RFP to Accurate Electrical Unlimited. And like I said, that doesn't obligate us to anything. You guys will see any proposed contract if and when that becomes available, but as soon as possible.
Okay. Council, do we need a motion on that, or is consent good enough?
No, I would make a motion.
Okay.
I can pull it together, I think. I move that we authorize a notice of intent award contract to Accurate Electrical Unlimited. Got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I will second that motion. Is there any further discussion? All right. Seeing none. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, Brian. All right. Next for discussion information, vacancy position 2, Commissioner Miller.
Okay. Commissioner Chuck, I did want to make sure that at the last discussion we had for the vacancy position, I wanted to make sure the name Rob Barnhill was out there. He had been one of the original applicants too, and he was on my mind, but I did not have him listed in that last proposal. So I just wanted to be sure he was there as an option.
Okay. Is that it? Anything further from you?
No, nothing else other than, I'm at the ready for us to, do whatever creative things we need to do to move the process forward. Be happy to have a special meeting, whatever we need.
Okay. So I think in the last, we've spoken about this quite often, and, the one thing that, I brought it up, many months ago, when you were reviewing these, what criteria did you use? I mean, that's something that, I elaborated on. I referenced, it was Washington or Clackamas County, their process, and when you were doing this, what was your criteria when you're looking at these people, and how did you assess their suitability to fill this position for the next 3 months?
Oh my gosh. I mean, so many things. I had my own kind of subjective, if you will, matrix. But really looking inwardly towards us, looking outwardly to how we serve the community. And I think, Commissioner Chuck, I think that is, and when we look back and think about the interviews too, I mean, that gave us a lot of intel, right, to process. And I just want to be sure that it's clear. I'm not, Kristen Don is great. Martha
Mhm.
Baker's great. A lot of these individuals, I think Commissioner Chuck really, really could probably do good work. So, and I also think it's really uncertain until an individual actually gets in the environment, right, to see what it's going to be
Mhm.
like. So, um, I don't think there's any guarantees, but um, I think we've got some good potential candidates.
Okay. All right. So, I'll just say one of the criteria that I use were, you want to make sure that these people had public service
Mhm.
backgrounds, experience, and then, especially budgets. That's the one thing that commissioners throughout the state, that's one of their main duties is, approving the budget. And I think budget experience is very important. Would you agree, or is that something that where
Yeah,
do those
yeah, of
things?
course. And part of my thinking too, um, Commissioner Chuck, I also looked at those who didn't necessarily have specific experience. And I think yes, budget's good, of course, big time, right? But also those that weren't necessarily familiar specifically with county government. I thought that was worth considering in that it might take longer to onboard somebody who didn't specifically, serve on a city council like Baker or with Kristen Dawn's experience on our budget committee, um, county government, other government entities. For example, when I was looking at Townsend, he had a strong financial experience, project management experience, but not necessarily that experience in government per se. And that, you know, I still saw a lot of skills there that maybe having a fresh look at what we do wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, And I think Commissioner Chuck, for me, that's why I kind of loop back around to the criteria uh, that it's as similar as possible, right, to what people go through if they're filing for office, because uh, I think there are a lot of examples of good service for those who are new, that are new to government. So I think honestly anything's possible, but I agree with you. Having a good resume and having some direct experience is encouraging, and that's probably in the end the best priority, right, when we're looking for somebody.
Okay. Um, well, that would just lead me to saying, I will still say that I would like to put Kristen Dawn's name out there. Um, you know, it's basically the 5th of August right now. If we put someone in there, it will be very interim, very short. And, if it's someone that hasn't run that is not in the race, they're
Mm.
basically a placeholder. So I mean that if we are looking at giving someone a trial experience, trial um, term, I think Kristen should be given that time to get up to speed. Um, she performed well in the election and in the past election. So I think that it's not a guarantee, but let the people see what she can do. So um, I'll make a motion that we appoint Kristen Dawn. Are you willing to second that motion?
No, sir.
Okay. Um, the last thing I'll just bring up is, you brought up that maybe we'll just have an impasse. Um, if we're going to keep doing this, should we keep having this as a discussion item on the agendas?
Well, yes, I really think we should. And are there any other any things that I can do to um, change your thinking, offer some creative insights that might help you consider other individuals? I mean, what can I do to persuade you that choosing somebody else to serve? Would it be other types of individuals? How could I help the process?
Um, I'll say that you brought people to the table. Appreciate
Yeah.
that, but I also think that we need to finish the process that we began, and if we're at an impasse, we need to talk about that too. So um, we can keep it on the agenda, and we can talk about it in 2 weeks.
All right.
All
Very
right.
good.
All right. Thank you for the discussion.
Yep.
Agenda topics. Do you have anything you wish to bring up as far as agenda topics?
Commissioner Chuck, I'm thinking kind of agenda topics as an agenda topics. Something I'm not going to dive into today, but I was looking at Lane County's website, and one of the things I like there with their agenda portal is they have a spreadsheet that shows where they're projecting ahead for future agenda items. And I thought, maybe that would be something that would be helpful if I proposed to you, to Council Yule, essentially administration saying, okay, here are some things that I foresee that would be of value that we look at, and sometimes it might be specific, but sometimes it might be more aspirational. And I thought, okay, maybe that is something that, because if you look at Lane, it's very specific that they're forecasting that far out, and it seems very concrete. Like they're not they're a certain topic that we'll be seeing in the coming month or two. But if that at all might create some clarity, for the team to kind of say, okay, we see where Commissioner Miller is thinking, and that way it doesn't feel like kind of a out of the blue type thing. I think that could help our coordination, help everybody see what I would like to do, and Commissioner Chuck too. They would just be available for you, and that helps us be more collaborative. That's something I've been kicking tires on. So
Okay. Well, as far as that, I look at our consent calendar. That's kind of what I look at, and there's 8 items that we always have on there. We whether or not we have recommendations or recognitions or proclamations, that's monthly. Um,
mhm.
as far as adding things to the agenda, I think that's up to the staff to bring that to our attention, and if we have things that we would like to put on the agenda, I think we should just keep with the current process we have. We couldn't have foreseen what we had from Lieutenant McDowell or Brian with what's going on at the jail. So
Yeah.
I think that we have 8 or 9 subjects that are always going to be on our agendas, and whether or not they're full or not. But no, I think that's something that if you wish to speak further about, we can. But currently,
Okay.
I think the way our agenda is structured is pretty good. I think staff does a good job of bringing things to our attention and putting things on here that we need to address as part of the county's business.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Sounds good.
All right. No, I have no agenda topics I wish to discuss or put on the agenda for next month or next meeting. No staff or partner reports. We do have a commissioner's report from myself. I did not have that prepared for the last meeting, so I'll just be kind of brief on this one. I
Oh,
was
sure.
invited to take place in the launching of the Lift Off Eugene. That is a plan for an expansion to the Eugene Airport. I do use that airport when I fly out as much as I can. I enjoy the shorter drive, the smaller terminal, and also the less expensive parking. The idea is have to have 3 terminals there. It's going to be done in 2 phases. The first one, they're going to be going to the legislation to get some funding for expanding the current terminals and doing some other improvements there to allow more airplanes to spend the night there on the tarmac. Um, they're hoping that they can double the usage of the airport in the next 5 years, 7 years, if they can get the permits and they can get the money. There's other talks about putting a hotel there so people can stay there. The benefit of that airport to the NOAA facility, the current commandant there at the NOAA facility said that would be a great asset for them. You know, we do want to keep NOAA here, and that was one of the things that brought them here was flight service. And it's closer to the coast, and it opens up a whole different customer clientele for that area. I put EDELC, YBeef, a lot of other local entities in touch with them, and so they have all expressed interest and support on that. And so that was it was good to see that. Talked to Congresswoman Hoyle. She was there in person, so I was able to talk with her about some other things. So it was a good thing to go to. Really appreciated being invited, but I think an expansion at Eugene would be a big benefit to all of us. So that was that one, and then the other one I did was I was in Salem on the 10th of July for the solid waste task force in the Willamette Valley. That task force was formed with House Bill 3794, and it is basically coming up with a solution to the closure of Coffin Butte. I think the good thing is that we know that it's going to close, and we do have some time. It's going to affect 7 different counties. The 2 counties that concern me the most right now are honestly is Lincoln and Tillamook. We are not customers of Republic, who owns the landfill, and our haulers contracts run out in 2029, and so we need to find a place to go to take our garbage. This is a transportation issue. There are other things going down the pike to address this. But this task force is going to be bringing some legislation, a concept that's due on December 15th of this year. So I will be continually engaging in that, but want to make sure that our needs are met. Our haulers have done a great job of having infrastructure to bring our solid waste wherever it needs to go. Some of the other counties are not in as good a shape as we are. Just want to make sure that our needs are met with this. And so I'll be continuing to go to Salem and reaching out and talking with the other commissioners that are involved. There's 7 counties involved now, and there are some different options that are being discussed. But this is something that's going to have impact to our ratepayers and then also to our forest deputies. As our garbage rates have gone up, that increases the illegal dumping, and we just want to make sure that as little of that happens as possible. So that's
Great.
yeah. Like I said, it wasn't very. It was an interesting meeting. You know, I've been following them for 6 months, and this was the first time where they actually had engagement from the other counties, other than the Benton County Commissioner is the chair of the meeting, and it was nice to see. Yeah, it was nice to see the other 6 counties showed up in person. Well, two of them were online. The other ones were in the room, and so it was good to see that. I know the governor's representative was really pleased to see a bunch of other people in the room. So the next meeting is on the 14th of August, so I'll be attending that one. It's something we need to keep our eye on. So
yeah, thanks for staying on top of that.
Yeah. Okay. That ends my commissioner's report. Ken, we had one person sign up for public comment. You want to let them into the queue?
Yes, sir. Ms. Griffiths, I've pushed allow to talk. Can you hear us and are you able to speak?
Yeah. Welcome, Ms. Griffiths. Please state your name for the record, and the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes.
Unmute.
We
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yep.
Okay. I can see you. Can you see me, or does it even matter?
Well, there's no video, but
That's okay. Okay, for the record, my name is Shayan Griffiths. My comment relates to the appointment process for position 2. 5
Mhm.
months ago, the commissioners agreed on a process for appointment to position 2. They interviewed and selected finalists Marcy Baker and Kristen Dawn prior to the primary election. I have followed the process first as an applicant, then as just a curiosity. It's been interesting to observe what has followed. On April 30th, Commissioner Miller states that he might want to wait until the election to consider community selection for the appointment, which is not part of the election. Miller stated that they have demonstrated that the appointment wasn't a priority. Chuck asked for clarification, stating that his impression was that they were at an impasse. On June 3rd, Miller states that things have changed over time and now he supports appointing Curtis Miller, with no mention of Baker or Dawn. Both commissioners agree that they are at an impasse, but that they have been working well together and collaboratively, so should carry on. On June 17th, Miller again motions to appoint Landers, citing election neutrality, and the impasse continued. On June 24th, Miller again cites election neutrality and proposes appointing Landers, going back to the drawing board. Throughout this process, there has been no mention of Kristen Dawn or Marcy Baker. On July 15th, Miller makes 4 separate motions. Landers, who previously publicly announced a disinterest in position 2, or Baker, who remains a finalist, or Earls or Brubaker, who has publicly announced that she is returning to Val Hoyle's office. Miller does not mention that Brubaker and Earls opposed him in the primary. The combined votes for Earls and Brubaker total only 159 less votes than Miller's primary total. Miller's rationale for these motions was to appoint in a manner to avoid advantage to any candidate in the upcoming election and to avoid incumbency advantage. Had incumbency advantage been an advantage in an election, both Chuck and Miller would have won their primaries, right? It seems ironic that candidate Miller appears to be utilizing his own incumbency advantage to flood the zone with obstruction and moving of goalposts to delay or most likely avoid appointment to position 2.
Ms. Griffiths, I apologize, but we are at 3 minutes. I
Okay,
couldn't get
that's
my
fine.
timer working.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shan.
Thank you, Shan. Appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further public comment, people signed up, correct, Ken?
Correct. Miss Griffiths was the only person who signed up.
All right. Thank you. I'd like to be adjourning the meeting at 10:44 on August 5th. Thank you for your being here. Thank you for everybody's participation and have a good week. Bye-bye.
Thanks.